Hey, everyone. So, hello, you all. Look, we've been talking about this for weeks, days. It feels like months, but he's here. Look, he's here. So, hi. So, this is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the business plug. And so, today I am plugging you into the master of client retention here. And so, I am not going to hold you long, but I do want you to do something. In order for us to see you in the comments, then I'm going to need you all to give StreamYard permission to show your name. And so that way we can see who you are when you're doing comments. So if you'll click where you see the link, then it gives StreamYard permission. And when you comment, we can actually see who you are. Otherwise, we'll see Facebook user. So I don't want to see Facebook users. I want to see people's names so I know who we're talking to. And at this point, I'm going to let him introduce himself. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm presenting to you the author of our book, the author of our book, Mr. Joey Coleman. So, Mr. Coleman, Joey, go ahead and tell us who you are.
Linda, you're too kind. Thank you so much for inviting me on your show. And thanks to everybody who's joining in and watching, whether that's live or on the recording. Excited to get a chance to connect. As Linda said, my name's Joey Coleman. I teach companies how to keep their customers. For the last 20 years, I've worked with companies, small, medium, and large, domestic and international, product companies, service companies, companies with a ton of employees, companies with a solo entrepreneur, companies that are selling online, companies that are selling offline. I've helped them figure out ways to actually hold on to those customers that they've worked so hard to acquire. See, I think a lot of businesses focus on how do we get customers? How do we get these new customers? How do we fill the funnel? How do we get them coming in the door? How do we get them to buy our products, buy our services? But they don't spend a lot of time thinking about how do we keep them? How do we keep those people that have said, I want to be in relationship with you. I want to be engaged with you. How do we hold their hand and make sure they stay with us for the long term? So that's spent almost 20 years doing. I'm a speaker, I'm a writer, I'm a consultant, and that's how I work with companies here, there, and everywhere to help them figure out these challenges around customer retention.
That is so awesome. I'm trying to make sure that we don't miss a comment here. So so tell us about the backstory. How did this get how did this become a thing for you?
Well, it's interesting. There are a couple different pieces, as is most things in life. A lot of things influence how we end up. But I would suppose the big point where everything shifted for me is I had an ad agency that I ran, and we were really good at driving new business for our clients. We were really good at, getting them new leads and getting them new customers. And I was working with a client on a big rollout that they were doing. And their rollout was they were going to start selling this new product. And it was going very well. And we were getting lots of engagement. And about 3 months later, I went back to the client and I said, look, we've got all this traffic, all these leads, all these people signing up. How's it impacted the bottom line? How are we doing? I feel like we got to be doing great right now. My client was like, Joey, you did your job. We got lots of new people in the door, but a lot of people are leaving, and it's not just the new ones that are coming in, but some of our old people are leaving, and what's going on? We couldn't figure it out. And this started me pulling on a thread, Linda, and the thread it had me pulling on is how many customers that come in decide to leave, and when do they decide to leave, and why do they decide to leave? Okay. What we figured out is the majority of your new customers will decide to stop doing business with you before they reach the 100-day anniversary. You've got 100 days to really make it work, to really connect with folks and to really deliver the kind of experience that keeps them coming back for more. What we also figured out is that somewhere between 20 and 70% will leave in that 100 days. Wow. 20 to 70%.
That's a lot.
They're hemorrhaging and they have no idea because no one's paying attention. Everything is incentivized about how do we get new customers? How do we hit sales goals? What are we doing? As opposed to how long are we keeping these people? And what is the ongoing relationship? And what most businesses don't realize is that that's where you actually grow your business. You don't grow your business by adding new customers.
No.
You grow your business by keeping the ones you already have. And over time, that has a compounding effect.
That is good stuff. That is great stuff, because these are people who are warm audiences who don't need to be convinced to do business with you. Right. They already like you. They already know you.
They've already said they want to be in relationship with you. They've already signed on the dotted line. They've handed over their hard-earned cash, whatever it may be. They're in. What are you doing to keep them in? That's the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a whole different frame of reference because most new businesses are come buy from me, and they're so busy doing the assess part
Yes.
of the strategy that they are not really paying attention to the other seven phases. And
Exactly.
so, like you were saying, in the first 100 days, they're bleeding because these people are like, okay, once they have me, they don't want me anymore until it's time to renew. And then that relationship there is has not been nurtured or supported or anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know we've got some of the folks who are listening are kind of newer in business. Here's the good news for you if you're newer in business. It's actually easier, right? Because when you, and most business owners are really good at this when they get started because they've only got
Yeah,
one or two clients. So
yeah,
I take great care of them because I go to my client list. I'm like, well, I want to check in on them. How are they doing? But I just checked in on them yesterday. That might be
yeah,
too much.
yeah,
But then when we start to get 10 clients and 20 clients and 100 clients and 1,000 clients, you get to the point where you don't even know all your clients, let alone
exactly,
stay in touch with them as your business
exactly.
grows. And so the good news is if you're just starting out, this stuff comes more naturally to you, and you can put the systems in place early so that it'll allow you to keep going as you build. If you've been in business for a while and you know you've got some challenges here, well, the good news is you've probably got the revenues and the resources and the team to help you put these systems and frameworks in place to stop the hemorrhaging.
Exactly. And right now when we're in COVID, like this is like paramount information
Yeah,
because
it's so true, Linda. I mean, here's the thing. We're living in unprecedented times with COVID-19, right? There's never been a time in the history of the world where every single person on the planet has been affected by the same thing at the same time,
mm,
ever. People say, "Oh, well, Joey, what about world wars?" Yeah, there were islands in the Pacific that didn't know that World War I that was happening, right? There were certain
mhm.
places around the world where we live in a 24/7 news cycle where everybody's connected, where if somebody dies of COVID-19 in North Carolina, I hear about it on the news in Colorado.
Yes.
Back in 1918, when we had the last major pandemic, at least in the United States, you never heard about the deaths that were happening 5 states over. Or if you did, you heard about it 2 months later. That's by
And,
the time the news made it to you.
to go with that thought. So in 1968, we did have a pandemic. I lost my mom to it. I just did a New York Post article about the pandemic that nobody knows about
Yeah.
because of that same news cycle.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, and I'm sorry that you lost your mom.
Thank
And you're
you.
spot on correct. Like we're in a different era. We're also in an era where there is more fear and doubt and uncertainty than at any time in our modern, at least in most Americans' modern history, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And so here's the thing. We've got a lot of uncertainty. We don't know whether COVID-19 is going away soon or never. We don't know if it's growing or it's falling. There's a lot of questions. But here's what I know is a fact. How you treat your customers now during COVID-19 will be remembered by your customers after COVID-19. And if you want to have customers after COVID-19, you better be paying attention to how you treat them now. And what it means is business as usual can't happen the way it's been happening. All right?
No,
It's time
that's
for change. Policies and procedures are not meant for pandemics.
true.
Okay,
True.
so all the ways you used to do things, we need to reassess those, we need to reconsider those, and we need to reframe them for the world we live in today.
That's true. And that makes so much sense because again, they're fearful too. Like
Oh,
our customers are going through things too.
100%. And Linda, that's the huge opportunity for us as business owners is to lead with empathy, to
Yes.
recognize that while we're wondering, oh man, am I going to be able to keep the lights on? What's going to go on with my business? Is my business going to succeed? Our customers are wondering the same thing.
Yes.
Is that business still going to be here if I decide to do business? And what if I give them my money and then they close?
Yeah.
Will I get that money back? What if I buy this product from them and it breaks, but now they're out of business? Am I out that money?
Yeah.
Right? So they have the same type of fear, uncertainty, and doubt that we have, and it's about us.
Yeah.
So our opportunity is to look at how can we lead from a voice of empathy?
Mm-hmm.
And how can we be clear with our customers in a way that lets them know we're here, we're committed to you, we're not going anywhere, and double down on serving them, double down on the experience you're creating.
Absolutely. Because that's going to help us win. That's going to help us all win.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So talking about the different principles. So of the 8 stages of the 8 phases of the customer life journey that you present to us, which one do you think people get stuck in most?
You know, it's interesting. It really depends on your business and on your industry, because some industries have a tendency to have more challenge with one or the other. But I would say that of all the people who've read the book, of all the people I've spoken to, because I get the pleasure pre-COVID-19 of traveling all over the world giving speeches about this. Now we do those remotely, so it's it's still exciting, but a little bit different.
Yeah.
The 2 phases that I think, so there are 8 phases for folks who haven't read the book. And the 2 phases that I think people struggle the most with, or where the most customers leave or fall off, is in the affirm phase and the acclimate phase. Now, let me explain what those are to folks who may not know what the 8 phases. In fact, maybe I should just give a real quick overview of the 8 phases, just so people have some context, right? So the first phase is the assess phase. This is when a prospect is trying to decide whether or not they want to do business with you. They then come to the second phase, the admit phase, where they admit that they have a problem or a need that they believe you're going to be able to help them with. So they sign on the dotted line, they hand over their hard-earned cash, they transition from being a prospect to being a customer. This is officially day one of the first 100 days. Right after that, right after they become a customer, they go to the affirm stage. Okay, they begin to doubt the decision they just made to work with you. Common parlance, we call that buyer's remorse. All right. Almost everybody listening to this or participating in this live stream has heard of buyer's remorse. But if I were to ask you, do you have a system and process in your business designed to address the buyer's remorse that we know scientifically that your customers are feeling? Most business owners don't. So that's the affirm stage, all right? We then come to the activate stage. This is the first real moment of truth. So in a service business, this could be the first kickoff meeting. It could be when you first deliver, if your lawn care business, the first time they come to mow your lawn. If it's a product business, it's when they receive your product, they open the box and they get it out and they're going to use it for the first time, right? So in this activate stage, we want to energize the relationship, really kick things off right, set a standard that doing business with us isn't going to be like any other business experience they've ever had. We then come to the acclimate phase. Now, the acclimate phase, and I'll talk about this more later, is where most businesses really start to fall apart. This is where they start to use your product or service, all right? This is where they really start to see the value for the engagement they agreed upon with you. So if they bought the product, it's not the first use, it's the second, third, fourth, fifth. It's how frequently are they using it? Are they getting all the value out of it? In a service scenario, it's not the first visit and the kickoff meeting. It's once we start rolling up our sleeves and doing the work, what's happening? In the acclimate phase, you want to hold your customer's hand and acclimate them to your way of doing business, so that hopefully they go to the next phase, which is the accomplish phase. The accomplish phase is when the customer accomplishes the goal that they had back when they were a prospect and they decided to work with you. So what are we doing to help our customers accomplish the goals that they outline and say are important to them? If we get them through all 6 of those phases, we get the right to bring them to the 7th phase, the adopt phase, where they adopt us, they're loyal to us, they're not going anywhere, they're all in. And only if, Linda, we've gotten them through all 7 phases and we're still engaged and we're still doing it, do they reach the Holy Grail, the final phase.
Grail. That is definitely the Holy Grail.
Right? Where they become a raving fan, singing praises far and wide. So those are the 8 phases. The 2 that people have the most trouble with, the affirm phase, that buyer's remorse phase, and it's mainly because most business owners don't even think of it. It's not a big phase, it's not a long phase, but it's an important phase, because you're up here celebrating that you got the new client, and they're down here wondering, what if this doesn't work out? And if you don't close the gap between your emotional high and their emotional low, as time continues, it's only going to go further and further apart. So what are we doing to do that? Right? And then that acclimate phase, when you're up and you're running and you're like, well, I'm just following through with the plan. I'm giving you everything I thought I'd give you. They're wondering, wait a second, where are we in the process? What comes next? I'm not sure what I agreed to.
Yeah.
People ask me all the time. They're like, Joey, how is it possible? How is it possible that people don't know what comes next? We give them a contract. We give them a proposal. We tell them what's going to happen in this process. If we're selling a product, we give them a book of instructions. We explain how to use the product. Folks, I say this respectfully. You sign things that you don't read all the time. How do I know that? Because you're human. That's a human condition. And if you doubt the validity of that statement, I ask you to think about the last time you rented a car. You go up to the counter and they've got that little screen there. And they're like, take the stylus and click the I accept box. And all this text is coming across and you're just going, I accept, I accept, I accept. Give me the keys. I just want to drive my car. I want to get out of here. I've been in line for an hour. Your customers are the same way. They sign things that they don't read. They never fully understood the proposal and the contract you gave them anyway. They get the directions and they go, I'll just figure it out. I don't need directions, right? Especially if they're male, right? So long story short, we've got to remind our customers what they've done already, what we're doing right now with them, and what we're going to do next.
That's good stuff. That is so good. I'm over here thinking, yeah, because like another case in point, how many of us know what our insurance clauses say until we need them?
Oh,
Like
totally.
car insurance, health insurance.
Not to mention, as a recovering attorney, I used to be a lawyer, right? The first step's admitting you have a problem. That's why I'm in recovery from being a lawyer. 11 steps after that, it gets much easier. But what I will tell you is most contracts, not all, and hopefully not any of your fans and followers, Linda, but most folks write their contracts to be difficult to understand.
Yeah.
Why do we do that? Why do we do that? Well, usually it's because we hired a lawyer and we want to cover all of our bases and we write it in legalese because that has value in the courtroom. Question I would ask you is, how many of your customers ever take you into the courtroom? I would be willing to bet that the majority of your customers never will take you into the courtroom. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And so why don't we write our agreements in our language so that the average person can understand it? I get stuff all the time. And I spent 3 years in law school. I went to GW in Washington, D.C. It's a top 25 law school. I practiced law. I worked for the Secret Service, the CIA, the White House. I was a criminal defense lawyer. I worked on really important cases and really important legal issues. I get contracts all the time that I read through them and I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. Like what you've written here, no, I'm not signing this. I don't agree to this, right? But the average person doesn't do that.
Yeah.
And it's not just the contracts that we receive when we're customers. It's the contracts that we're giving our customers.
Yeah.
So that's a way to make your customers love you more. Write agreements that they understand. Write agreements that are clear. And I have no problem with you saying, like, here are the conditions. If you do this, then this happens. These are the consequences. It's not about being, not protecting your business and protecting your work that you're doing. What it is about is using clear, concise language that is easily understood.
That's right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. And so when we think about people who are trying to implement this, right? So this requires us to have systems, first of all.
Yeah.
Because I go back to Dr. McCann, the favorite dentist of your book. I go back to the whole experience.
Yep.
Like automation is what was interjected. And then for her staff to call you after you got home, hey, did you go by and get your meds? Hey, you're starting to feel, understanding their experience and then letting them know that you care about their experience. So automation this is not going to be like, oh, well, I'll just implement it tomorrow. No, you have to think about it thoughtfully and think about what systems you need to be in place to automate the things that you can.
Absolutely.
Because we can't be everywhere at one time.
Yeah, no, we can. Especially, again, depending on where you are in the business, how big your team is, you're trying to get to 6 figures, you're trying to get to 7 figures, whatever it may be. Couple things. Number one, yes, systemization is important. Automation is important. I find 2 things that people have challenges with. Often they get caught up in the automation though. They say, oh, there's too much technical stuff. I don't know which program should I sign up for? Which software should I use? Joey, recommend the right tool. Which CRM should I use? Here's the answer to that question, folks. You know what the best CRM on the planet is? And by CRM, I mean customer relationship management tool. You know what the best one on the planet is? I'm going to tell you right now. The one that you'll actually use.
Absolutely. I agree.
I don't care which software program it is. It can be
Doesn't matter.
Post-it notes that
That
you're
is good
writing on.
stuff.
I don't care. But where are you recording the information about your customers in a way that you can call it back at a moment's notice? I will tell you, when I first started my business, can I tell you what my CRM was? It was the address book on my computer. I would put my client's name in and their phone number and their email and their physical address. I'm dating myself a little, but it was important back then. And then there was this notes field where you could type in whatever you wanted. So I created a little thing that I would copy and paste every time. And it said spouse, kids, birthday, school, hobbies, vacation, books. And then I would try to answer all those questions. What's their spouse's name and age? What's their kid's name and age? What's their birthday? Where's their favorite spot to go on vacation? What are their hobbies? What's their favorite book? What's their favorite movie? Whatever it may be. And I would just literally type it in. So if a client called me, my phone rings and it's Bill, I'd answer the phone, hey, Bill. And while I'm talking to Bill, I'd open on my computer their little thing. And I could go right to the bottom of the notes. And while I'm talking to Bill, I can see all these things that I've learned about Bill that I might not have at the top of my head. Right? Because as our business grows, it's harder to keep all of that in our head.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big believer in the statement that ink fades slower than memory.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay?
Yeah.
And you know what fades even slower than ink? Bytes, zeros and ones in your computer. Because then you can share them with other people. Then you don't have to say to everybody on your team, oh, here are the notes I took on this person. No, it's available for all of us to see.
Yeah. That's good stuff. That's good. And I like that because that's a practical way of starting the CRM.
Yeah,
Like,
and at no cost, because guess what? The address tool, it came free with your phone. It came free with your computer. You've got
all those different places are on your phone.
Totally.
Yes.
No additional fees that you need to spend. You don't need to sign up for any service. You don't need to find the best one to connect. No, you can just put it right there.
Absolutely. That's good stuff.
Again, I'm a believer in automation is great, but actually doing the thing, implementation is greater. I don't want you to, any of your listeners, any of your fans, Linda, to get caught up in this. Oh, I need the right tool. I need the right message. I need the right. No. You just need the thing you're actually going to start doing tomorrow.
Done is better than perfect. Done is still better than perfect.
100%.
Absolutely. I love that. This has been a great conversation. I love that because it reiterates some of the things I've told them about moving forward and about being in action and then thinking smarter. Like there are ways to grow your business because this whole group is designed to help them to become scalable. And so in order to become scalable, they have to have the right foundation, the right basics for their businesses. And a lot of times we don't even understand how valuable customer data is.
It's where it's all at. By the way, abundantly clear. How does Facebook actually make money? Not from ads. Like they make money from ads, but that's not really where they make money. You know where they really make money? Customer information. Here's a crazy statistic about Facebook. When you go on Facebook and somebody does a post that you see and you like that post, Facebook, the algorithm, records that like with your name. And then they will show you more posts like that to get you to press like more. Here's where it gets really crazy. Once you've liked 150 things on Facebook, which depending on the person could be an afternoon, right? Once you've liked 150 things from the time you signed up for Facebook till now, Facebook is better at predicting whether you will like the next thing that they show you than your spouse is at 150 likes. At 300 likes, they're better at predicting it than you are.
Wow.
At 300 likes. Wow. So they've got all this information. They're paying attention. They're now tracking the speed at which you scroll. So if you're going like this, they know I have to throw something out to slow them down. If you're going slow and you're like, oh, I think, and then you stop and you come back, they track that. Literally everything is being tracked. And then that information is being sold to advertisers because they can say, give me the person who scrolls through their feed quickly until they come along to an avocado slicer, and then they always slow down. So all the people that are selling avocado slicers are like, that's my person I want to sell to.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's how you do social media marketing, is that no longer will we have to worry about where they live, what they make, the demographics of it. It's just like you were saying, the things that you're putting in your phone now are psychographics, right? How
Exactly.
can they put your product, your service into their own life that they're doing now? Like, how do you fit in? And trying to understand where that is and being there so when they need you, they scroll and see you.
Exactly. Exactly. So true, Linda. So true.
Yeah, so that's good. That is great stuff. I love this. I love this conversation because
Thank
this
you
is,
so much.
yeah, I do, because it is actually reiterating some things that I've been trying to teach my students. I have students around the country. So this group is a group of 900, excuse me, of 292 people, but around the country I have like 14,000 people that follow me who will eventually see this, but not today, but they'll
There
see.
you go. No worries. Well, hi to all the folks that are watching the replay.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to the replay viewers. We love you guys. You keep us going. And so understanding about the different segments of how customers come in, and then how to nurture them, how to treat them, and how to pay attention, and still putting things in place so that as much as possible you're capturing the information that's usable for you and your business.
Yeah.
And then that way you're able to implement these 8 phases, like they become intuitive.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's what
if I may, can I say something about
yeah,
capturing that information? Because here's
yeah.
something that a lot of business owners struggle with too. And you may have experienced this sometimes when you did business with someone. They'll say, great, so to sign up to read our free download, we're going to need your name, your first name, your middle name, your last name, your phone number, your social security number, your fax number. Who still has a fax? Your mailing address, but we're never going to physically mail anything to you. The name of your firstborn child, where you went to school, your cousin's best friend's roommate's dog's, previous owner's name. I mean, they ask all this stuff. Here's my rule of customer data. 2 rules, right? Number 1, don't ask for it unless you intend to use it.
That's it. That's
Don't
good.
ask me for the phone number unless we've agreed that you're going to call me.
Mm,
Text me, right? Don't ask me for my email and then never send me a message.
mm.
Okay. So number 1, only ask for what you're actually going to use. If you're going to ask for their birthday, you darn well better send me a birthday card on my birthday. Otherwise, don't ask, because
Yeah,
I'll remember that I told you.
yeah.
Number 2, don't ask for everything on the first date. Here's what I mean by that.
The
Imagine
road.
you go on a date with somebody, right? You saunter on in, you're feeling good, everything's excited. You sit down at the restaurant. This is obviously a hypothetical post-COVID-19, right? You sit down and you get your menus, and before you've even placed the order, the person you're on a date with says, so tell me what you were like in 6th grade. What was your dog's name? What's your best friend's name? What'd you study in college? What's your hopes and dreams for the future? What's the most, crazy secret that you don't want to tell anybody? What's your favorite book you ever read? You ask all this stuff. If you were in a real life interaction with a human like that, you'd be like, okay, by the way, check, I'm done. Like, I'm not, this conversation is not continuing. I feel like I'm being investigated.
Yeah.
You never want your customers to feel like they're being investigated. So how do you do that? Well, you ask the questions slower over time. You don't ask all the questions on the first date. You ask 1 or 2 and you get them talking. Then the next time you interact, you ask a different 2, and you're recording all of this so you don't have to ask the same question more than once. The other thing you mentioned, social media, Linda, huge opportunity is go on their social media profiles. You can answer a bunch of questions right there.
Mm-hmm.
You can get their spouse name, their birthday, where they live, a lot of the demographic data, and a good amount of the psychographic data you can get just by seeing their Facebook feed or their LinkedIn page or their Twitter feed, right? And most humans, especially Americans, haven't figured out how the privacy settings work on social media. All right. So they're putting it all out there. If you're somebody who knows privacy settings and you're smart about privacy, you're good, right? But the rest of the people are just like, oh, here's what I'm doing, right? It's all there for you. I'm old enough to remember there used to be a time that if you wanted to find out somebody's spouse's name or where they went to college or where they lived, you had to ask them.
Yeah.
Now I can find out that information in 30 seconds on Facebook or LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
Use the tools we got, people. Oh, by the way, all free tools. Doesn't matter how big or small your business is, all free tools. You don't need to sign up for the premium accounts or be an advertiser. No, just go and look. So many of your customers have wide open profiles with lots of customer data that you can use to build deeper, more personal connections with them.
And that's the thing. That is the thing. The whole relationship, the whole building up a relationship so that you're no longer chasing customers.
Yes.
You have no need for that.
Exactly. Yeah, there's zero need for chasing customers, right? Zero need. Here's the thing. When you take care of your existing customers and deliver them a remarkable experience again and again, what are they going to do? Tell their friends. Okay? I've got clients of mine that we've worked that previously 10% of their revenues went to their marketing budget. Their marketing budget is now under 1%. Why? Because they don't need to market anymore. Their advocates have become their marketers. That's that 8th phase, right? The holy grail, when your customers become your referral source. I've yet to meet a business owner. I'm curious, Linda, I'll ask you, have you ever met a business owner who said, I'm all good on referrals. I don't need it anymore. It doesn't happen. I've never met a business owner who's like, nope, referrals. We've got way too many referrals coming in. Slow down that referral pipeline. No. People love referrals. Why? Because it's free marketing.
That is your reward for doing the job well done.
100%. It's pre-framed. They know what it's going to cost. They know what the deal is. They've got a good word of mouth support from one of their friends or somebody they trust. And you get to ride off that trust and credibility and ride that wave in yourself. Oh my goodness. Just focus on taking care of your customers. Everything else sorts itself out. I promise. I'm in business 20 years now. Everything else sorts itself out. Just take care of the people you serve. Don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about anything else. Just take care of the ones you serve.
That is good stuff. That is amazing stuff. So that's all of my questions. So if any of you have questions, and I'm looking at the group to see if I have any questions because it's a little bit of behind us, but I see Keena, I see you and Tira and Brittany and all of you guys have joined us. So thank you guys for taking this part of the middle of your day, especially if you're returning back to work and you're listening in for us. Don't get in trouble, but thanks for listening in for us because this is like a paramount experience for us to have our guests here in the group and exclusively here in the group for just you to answer your questions about customer retention, to help you to get to your next level. Because the thing about it is you want to create businesses that are scalable. Now, in order for us to see it, in order for us to see the comments, you have to give us approval for them to show your information because this is a private group and StreamYard does recognize your need for privacy. Okay. So, but if you have any questions here at all, then we'll be glad to answer them for you about customer retention and about how you can begin scaling your business using customers you already had. In your book, you mentioned, like, what would it feel like to have every customer that you've had to continually do business with you?
Yeah. So here's an interesting, I'm happy you brought that up, Lindy. Here's a question I'll ask everybody watching. So how big would your business be today?
Yeah.
If everyone who'd ever been a customer came back and bought another product or signed up for another coaching engagement or bought another service from you, everyone who you'd ever work with, how big would your business be? Linda, I will tell you, I've had the chance to deliver that line on stages around the world, and there's usually an audible gasp as people realize, "Ooh, Lordy, it'd be so big. It'd be 2 times as big, 3 times as big, 10 times as big." These are people who've already raised their hand and said they like you. These are people who've already given you their hard-earned dollars. They've already been in relationship. Why aren't they still in relationship with you? Well, at least 50% of the reason they're still not in relationship with you falls on your shoulders. And it's because you haven't kept in contact. You haven't kept in touch. You haven't been so connected to them that you knew what they would need next. There's a fantastic author by the name of Kevin Kelly, and he wrote a blog post that you can find just by searching 1,000 True Fans. And I'll sum up the blog
Love
post
that.
for you. The principle behind his 1,000 true fans concept is if you have 1,000 customers that absolutely love you, they're fans of everything you do. No matter what you do, they're going to buy. Hey, you've got a book you're going to write, your next book. They're like, sign me up. You're like, I didn't even tell you what it's going to be about. They're like, I don't care. If you're writing it, I want to hear. Or you're selling some product, you know, they're going to be part of some group. Hey, you're going to be leading the group. I want to be in it. I didn't tell you what the group's about. Doesn't matter. If you're leading the group, I want in. If you have 1,000 true fans, you have $1 million business. Minimum. And it's not that hard to get to 1,000 true fans. The way you do it is twofold. Number one, create great products and services. Deliver great quality. Those are the ante-up chips to sit down at the table and play the game. You got to have a quality product, a quality service. Okay. Number two, build a personal and emotional connection with your customer. Be in relationship with them and continue to deliver remarkable experiences again and again. Those two things, a solid product and a solid relationship that continue to feed off each other over time, you're good. We have a tendency, business is hard. I get it. I've been in business a long time. I get that business is hard, and business in a COVID-19 world is even more difficult, right? There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of uncertainty. But it's not as hard as people make it out to be. If you just take care of your customers, the rest of this stuff has a tendency to sort itself out. I have yet to meet a business where the owner was really committed to taking care of their customers, where the customers were loyal and committed, where that business went out of business. Maybe they changed, maybe they pivoted, maybe they made some decisions, but they didn't go out of business. And the reason they didn't go out of business is because if you're doing a good job, your customers won't let you go out of business. They will keep you in business.
And we've seen that. We've seen people, we've seen communities come together and reopen restaurants. We've seen, you know, this shop has always been here. The community takes it over. I mean, we've seen it time and time again.
Absolutely. You know, the human spirit cannot be defeated. The human spirit is incredible. And I think it's always been important, but in this day and age, it's more important than ever. We got to spend more time thinking about how we can give each other a little bit of grace, give each other a little bit of support, help prop each other up, and less time thinking about like, well, but you think this and I think this, and look how far apart those two things are. No, you're human and I'm human. Let's connect. Let's figure out a way. We got to have some common ground. We have some common ground with every other human being on the planet, right? If nothing else, then our appreciation for the fact that we're alive.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Right? Exactly. That is good stuff. That is so good. I cannot thank you enough. I cannot thank you enough for this. This has been wonderful. So, so that we don't take up all of your time, can you give us one final on your way out the door? And if you'll hang on after that, then I will close out this.
Yeah, absolutely. So one final tip. Let me give you my single most powerful tip or technique to create emotional and personal connection with your customers that will cost you less than $2 per customer. Okay. It's called the thank you note. Okay. Now here's the interesting thing. Whenever I talk about the thank you note, people look at me and they're like, thank you notes, Joey? Come on. Seriously? Just that? Let me ask a question of everybody listening, and Linda, you play along if you would.
I will.
In your house right now, Linda, if you don't mind my asking, do you have a thank you note that someone has written to you in the past? Raise your hand if you have a thank you note that someone has written to you in the past.
They're all.
Look at that. Not only do we have them, they're on display. Here's the thing. Everybody watching live, everybody watching on the replay, almost every person, when I ask that question, says, yeah, I have one.
Yeah.
Here's my follow-up question. Did you get it today?
No.
Or a while ago? And usually it's a while ago. And then my third and final question is, well, then why did you keep it? You already read it. If it came today and you read it and you still got it, I understand. But for most people, they've got a thank you note that was written a month ago, or 6 months ago, or 6 years ago, or a decade or more ago. Why do they still keep the note? I believe that the reason people keep the note is because in 2020, we are dying for physical proof that we matter and that we've had an impact on another person. We want the tangible physical proof that we matter and that we've had an impact on another person. And when we write a thank you note to someone that clearly says, thank you so much for XYZ, whatever you did. Here's the impact that it had on me. I can't thank you enough. And we sign our name and we physically put it in the mail and send it to them. We have given them a tangible physical artifact that shows that they matter and they had an impact. So if you want to do something in your business, start writing thank you notes. Write thank you notes to their customers for trusting you with their hard-earned dollars and their irreplaceable time. Write a thank you to your employees and your team members for all the hard work they do to take care of your customers and deliver remarkable experiences again and again. Write thank yous to your vendors who make sure that you have the product and the service and have the tools you need to run your business. Write to your supporters, right? People who maybe aren't customers, but they're investors or friends or family that you talk to and they prop you up or they gave you encouragement or they're the one who said, hey, I think you'd be good running a business, and they were your inspiration or your spark. If you were to write a thank you note a day, just the business days, 5 days a week, from now till the end of the year, and you were to come back to this membership and to come back to Linda and say in December, I did the thank you note challenge, and here's what the results were. Here's what I can guarantee. You will feel better about yourself. You will feel better about your business, and your business will have grown. Period. All three of those things will happen. And it'll cost you less than $2 a note. Because you buy the note, you can even just get a sheet of paper. It's not about the beautiful design of the note. It's not about it. And write it out. Write it longhand. Don't type it, okay? I understand some of you are like, oh, Joey, but my handwriting, you don't understand. I'm like, folks, here's a solution to your handwriting. Two things. Slow down. Print. And if you're really in doubt, tip the letters back. What I mean by that is if you're right-handed, you have a tendency to write with the letters going one way. Try to get the letters straight up and down or even opposite of the way they should go, and your handwriting will clean up like that. All right? Little pro tip on it.
Little pro tip. I like it. I like it.
Write the note, put it in the envelope, put it in the mail it to them. Don't send the email thank you note, okay? Because then, by the way, that just gets archived with all the other emails that I don't ever go back and read, even though I archive them like crazy, right? Instead, give them something physical, and you might get lucky. Like Linda, they might actually hang it on their wall.
And it belongs on the wall. It definitely belongs on the wall. And that's just a fraction of the ones I've received since last year.
I'm sure. And my gut instinct is you've kept most or the majority of them.
Absolutely.
Why?
Because they feed my soul. Those are the rewards.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. And so I take you all, I'm taking you to that challenge. Let's see how many of you go ahead and put below, I accept the challenge. I accept the thank you challenge. Put that below if you're watching the replay. Put it below if you're watching now. Hashtag I accept the challenge. And we're going to see how many of you are going to do that. We're going to get back with Joey. I would be glad to email him and tell him we're doing this in December.
Let me know. We'll do some free prizes for the people that do the challenge. How about that? Let's just do that. Let's make this excited. Let's add another. For the best stories that we get out of it, we'll have another conversation. We'll award some free prizes. All right? Let's do it, people. We need more gratitude. We have so much to be thankful for. I get that it's a crazy time. I get that a lot of people are in pain. A lot of people are struggling. I get it. And our way out of this is gratitude. Our way out of this is appreciation. Our way out of this is helping our fellow human, right? Yes. A thank you note, while it seems like a little thing, can actually go a long way towards making
it. It can go a long way. It can definitely go a long way. That's good stuff. That is good stuff. I like it. And so right now, we're going to close the show out. I am Linda Murray Bullitt. They call me the business plug, and I just plugged you into Never Lose a Customer Again. The author, Joey Coleman, has joined us today. And so we thank you. Thank you. Please hold for me, Joey, and we'll say goodbye. So goodbye, you guys.
Bye.
Thanks for
Thanks,
taking your
everybody.
time.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Have a great day, rest of your day. Thank you.